Hello everybody, welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today we're going to talk about Marisi, Breaker of the Coils, in deck number 469. This is continuing on with the Commander 19 theme. So we got a 4-mana 5/4 Cat Warrior. I don't know that Cat Warrior matters for how I built the deck, but it's Naya, so that's very creature-based color scheme, you know. Your opponents can't cast spells during combat, so our combat's our own. We can still cast spells during combat, our opponents can't, so that's pretty sweet. That kind of actually, now that I think about it, I can, if you want to ensure that you're going to path a certain creature and you know that they have counter spells, you can just wait till combat and you can cast your path during your combat. So, wait, during any combat. That way they can't counterspell it because they can't cast spells during combat. That's funny. I love it. Anyway, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, goad each creature that player controls. Of course, to goad something, it has to attack and can't attack you until your next turn. So, how I built it was I want to encourage all the combat possible. Just as long as it don't involve me. So, the first thing I went to was creatures with some kind of evasion ability. Now, I know Ferropede is probably, top of the list for this, but it's just a 3-mana unblockable. So you're going to get into somebody and you're going to goad them. Now, the problem is we have to have an evasion ability because if we care about goading somebody, then that means they have creatures. So we don't want our creatures to die in the process. So things that make it harder to block, like, well, actually, Ferropede is awesome because it's just unblockable. But then we've got stuff like flying. And of course, y'all know I look for a reason to use Sarah Angel in a deck, but Flying Vigilant 4/4, I mean, it's not bad. Flying is probably the most popular evasion ability, and it's in our format. A lot of times, it's not even evasion because everybody's got flyers, right? Well, no, not everybody does. Somebody won't have a flyer, or maybe, like Flying Protection from red. Protection's another good evasion ability because it can't be blocked by creatures of that color. So, if somebody's got, all red creatures, or at least part of them's red, a red-black and a red-green. I guess you're playing Judd, I don't know. But protection, it works, Death Speakers, pro-black. But I want to talk about Landwalk. Yeah, I mean, I realize that Mountain Goat is not breaking no records here, but it is a 1-mana 1/1 with an evasion ability. Granted, only roughly 20% of the decks out there run mountains, but hey, probably more than that because people in EDH, we love to play multicolors. The Pale Bears having Island Walk is probably a little better because islands are very popular. The Mountain Yeti has not only Mountain Walk, but also a protection ability, so that's really, really good. Cat Warriors has Forest Walk, and we all know, Forest Walk is kind of the big deal because green is one of the more popular colors. People use it to fix their mana. Island Walk on the River Boa, and then when it got time shifted in Planar Chaos, it got Swamp Walk. So, of course, we got Forest Walk. And the best walk of all in Commander, non-basic land walk. Look at that. If they have any non-basic lands, they can't block it. It's beautiful. Now, then we have some of course, the harder to block creatures. The Ledge Walker can't be blocked except by creatures with flying. And it has hexproofed. We used to call it Troll Shroud. I almost call it Troll Shroud again. We have the Skirk Shaman that has Menace, back before Menace was keyworded. Whirling Dervish has pro-black. A Blood Knight, Pro White. Oh, you want to talk about 1-mana flyers? Nobody thinks of Scrib Sprite, but that's not bad. And then, of course, we have Goblins of the Flarg with more Mountain Walk. So, I was like, well, these are my evasion creatures that I plan on getting in there. Not, yeah, it's kind of weird that this is a creature deck that I want to deal combat damage to opponents with, but it don't have to be a whole lot of damage. It just has to be just 1 point. That way, all my opponents will fight amongst themselves, thus making it easier. I not have to do as much damage. So, do we want to look at the rest of the creatures, or do we want to look at the ramp? We'll do our ramp package first. There's a little bit here in the way of spells. I mean, of course, Nature's Lore, Rampant Growth, Untamed Wilds, Finhorn Elder. And yes, by the way, in case you're wondering, if there was a white border version for this deck, I used the white border version. Heck yeah. Hence the reason why there's Llanowar Elf. Yeah. But Llanowar Elf, Elvish Mystic, Secure Tribe Elder, Steward of Valeron, Frontier Guide, because he just value. I mean, just value out of that. Don't have a whole lot of card draw. Soul the Harvest, because I'm trying to keep it as much creature-based as possible. Shamanic Revelation and Camaraderie. I mean, Camaraderie is just... That's just a dumb card. It's really, really good. So let's look at the rest of our creatures, shall we? We'll save those big boys till last. Run the Sun Titan, because we got into the Sun Titan with Commander 19, and you know what that means. Sun Titan's bestest friend in the world, Burnished Heart. Now, we also have, like you saw, the Secured Tribe Elder, and you saw some of the others that if they died of, pyroclasm type effects or chain reactions or whatever, Sun Titan can help get them back as well. Playing a Soul Warden, because, playing a lot of creatures, sometimes you just win the lottery and get Soul Warden on turn 1. Call Me the False Hope is our 1/1, because, let's face it, in EDH, if you turn 1 a creature, that's almost like having evasion. Not everybody's going to do that. Now, granted, you're not casting your commander on turn 1. I mean, it's not happening, but let's see what we got. Seedborn Muse is going to help us out substantially. The Good Fortune Unicorn, and we'll give it a try. Put another counter on it. Shanna, since we're playing heavy creatures. Now, the Frostfang, I almost put the Frostfang in with the evasion creatures because Death Touch kind of doubles as evasion. And this has the ability to give Death Touch to your entire team, which, by the way, is awesome with stuff like Overrun. Because Death Touch and Trample together, I think it's been a while since I have touched on that really, really quirky rule. But Trample says you must assign lethal damage to the defending creature before trampling over, assigning any damage to the player. Well, Death Touch, 1 damage is lethal. So if I have a 5/5 with Death Touch and Trample, and you block with a 5/5, I can assign 1 point of Death Touch damage to your creature, and the other 4 to you. Now, granted, they're still both 5/5s. In that scenario, they'll kill each other, but what ifs? You see my point. Yeah. Trample Touch is, if you'll notice, they don't put those cards or those abilities together on a card a lot. And as a matter of fact, I'm having trouble recalling any card doing it. I'm sure they'll do it on some crazy mythic in the future, but for now it hasn't. Now let's get to the big ones. Sarah's Guardian. Other creatures you control have vigilance. We're going to need to have some blockers at some point because we're not always... yeah, that's the goal. We always want to be goading, but quite frankly, in the perfect world, it's never going to happen. Blazing Archon is another good MC Hammer card. y'all know I love that specific art on Shivan Dragon. I'm like, it's 5/5. Yeah, 5/5 for 6 flying is there are better things, but it does have flying. That is an evasion ability, and I mean, it's a decent sized body. Now, granted, it's not Itali, but Itali is also extreme card advantage. Zatalpa is just a beast to be attacking with. And then our last creature, I do believe, is Rurik-Thar. Because sometimes Rurik-Thar just gets you there. I mean, yeah, this is probably the most spell-heavy Rurik-Thar, or spell-heavy deck I've ever put Rurik-Thar in, but with that many creatures, and, us being able to control when we play Rurik, it could totally, I mean, yeah, Rurik-Thar is going to get dead real quick, but they're going to take 6 for doing it. And even if it keeps cards in players' hands, hey, I'm fine with that too. Now, let's look at some weirdness. Trailblazer from Ice Age. Yes, this is another one of those reserve list cards that are under $1. And I mean, you can see why. It's a 4-mana target creature can't be blocked. Now, this isn't really green slice of the color pie anymore. But, I mean, it's 4 mana, and that's all it does. However, this can get you in with a lethal swing with one creature. This is going to guarantee that something gets goaded. So, speaking of passing out abilities, check this beauty out. War Barge. Like I said, Islands blue is, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say blue is probably the most popular color in our format. I mean, blue is the color of card draw and counter magic. So those are things that, I mean, we all love. I play a ton of it. So islands exist. They're out there. And just to have a War Barge. And I have also been known in years past to use War Barge defensively. Because if I'm abusing my War Barge getting in there to where it's unblockable and somebody blows it up, I'm going to give as many of your creatures Island Walk as I can. That way, they die when the War Barge dies. Yeah. So let's look at our, I guess, creature helpers. Mass Hysteria. Of course, going to give them all haste. Now that's all creatures, even your opponents. And in most decks, you would be shy about that. But when you're goading, I mean, you kind of want your creatures, or the creatures your opponents control, to attack. So, Collective Blessing. Permanent giant growth for your team is kind of not bad. True Conviction, double strike and lifelink. Vitalizing Wind, because why not? That's a monster of a spell. And then Epic Struggle. If you get 20 creatures, you just kind of win. I mean, Now, granted, this would be Epic Struggle is a play everybody sees coming, but it's also a play that you kind of makes you want to have the Veldalken Ore or the some kind of the Leyline of Anticipation or whatever, the flash, to where if you can flash in Epic Struggle at the end of the turn before you, its stock rises drastically. As you know, I referred to Path to Exile earlier. Kami the Ancient Law, evidently I have a creature in my removal spot, but that's kind of what he does. Disenchant. We're going to try the Sphinx's Decree. I kind of like it. Can't cast is kind of our thing, apparently. Pyroblast, because let's face it, Cyclonic Rift will ruin our day. Sundering Growth is another disenchant / naturalize that you can pay either or for. Mandate of Peace was kind of a natural fit with it. Kind of neat. If somebody does decide to attack you, you can stop that real quick. Naya Charm. 3 damage to a creature. Get something back. Or tap all creatures target player controls. This is another form of evasion. If I just tap your team, then you have no blockers. Shatterstorm. If you'll notice, up to this point, the only artifact I believe is the Burnished Heart. And of course, we have a kind of a built-in way to get the Burnished Heart back, but I wanted to use more creatures in my ramp, and that afforded me the ability to hate on artifacts because I was like, well, you know, we're not playing any, so Shatterstorm kind of makes sense. And if Shatterstorm makes sense, you know Dampening Field does. So I really like the Dampening Field. It is also a reserve list card. It is, however, not $1. I can't remember how much Dampening Field is. I think it's under $10, but players may not untap more than 1 artifact. That's pretty hardcore. So let's get into our non-basics here. Now, Gruul Turf, the Guildgate, Gorge, Highlands, Scabland. I'm telling you, I love the ability to just have another land with the Tempest, you know, bad duels, as it were, the bad pain lands. But hey, it's another. I mean, there's a lot of air in there. So, Stone Quarry, Guildgate, Garrison, Guildgate. What's y'all's opinions on the Odyssey filter lands? I mean, I don't think they've ever been really, really pricey, but there are arguably, every day that passes, there are more Commander players than there were the day before. So Commander is a, you know, fast-growing format, and are these... I don't know. I'll admit I played it because I'm building 16 decks out of 302 cards from the C19. Now, granted, I'm obviously using other cards, but I was like, it's white-green. I need a white-green duel. Sure, why not? But me, personally, I'm not going to seek out the filter lands and trade for them or buy them or anything, because let's face it, they don't produce mana by themselves. I don't know. That kind of seems... I'm okay with coming into play tapped, you know, but Rogue's Passage, actually a deck that's is going to like hardcore abuse it. Yeah, right. Evolving Wilds, Transguild Promenade, Jungle Shrine. Now these three, the last three, Ruins of Trokar, Havenwood Battleground, and Dwarven Ruins, are... I've got those in there. You saw the Sun Titan because we can get some double use sometimes out of these. But the ability to speed you up, yes, they all come into play tapped. But after that, they kind of function like a basic land. But you can sack them to get a boost that turn. You can sack them to get double of what they produce. Originally, these were Fallen Empires, and I think this printing is 5th edition, 97. Yeah, 5th edition. So... I don't know, going to give them a try. I can see a need for that, you know, just a little boost. But I didn't want to use a whole spell slot, a card slot in it for like the Spirit Guide or what have you. Even though both Spirit Guides would fit in the deck. I mean, anyway, that's let's put this baby back in the box. I'm kind of excited to play this one. I might actually bring this one to FNM tomorrow. It's tomorrow for me because I'm recording on Thursday. I'm going to release this as soon as, you know, I get done with it, but y'all may be watching it on, not on Thursday. So I may have already played it by the time you see it. I don't know, but I do kind of like the ability to, you know, have creature combat work just a little bit differently. So that's kind of a neat thing. So let's put Marisi up here. Man, we are almost done with that column. It seems like we just started this, man. Deck number 400, I didn't realize it till I was talking to Phil and Shivam. But deck number 400, I was on the Commander and podcast as the celebration for the 400th deck, and that was April. So all of this has happened since April. Right? Ooh. But there again, it seems like a lot, but to me, I mean, it doesn't. It doesn't. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. But anyway, I appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. But right now, I think we're going to shuffle and cut.